This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we are back, and there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Alain Poupart. Yeah, baby. How you doing? There you go. The Spose.
That's right. The Spose right here.
So you disappointed that Miguel Rojas got traded from the Marlins?
Who? That's how much I'm in touch. Like in the 70s and 80s, I could have told you practically every player on every team at every position. Nowadays, it's like who?
By the way, before I get into football, I do have to ask you about something that I know you do follow. It's not the Marlins; it's the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Paul Maurice hire just a terrible hire, a terrible fit? Was it a bad plan on their part from front office to coach that they didn't have the players for the kind of system he wants to run? Why the disaster that is the Florida Panthers this year? Please enlighten me. You are Canadian.
Last I checked.
Yes.
Two quick points here to be made. Number one, if you follow the Panthers and you studied their team, there was no way in hell. Obviously, they led the league in the standings in the regular season last year. So obviously, there was no way they were going to maintain that pace. They set a franchise record. It was clear there was going to be a big drop off from last year because they lost a lot of talent to remake their team to make them more suited for the playoffs, which they were not last year. They were awesome. They were so much fun to watch throughout the regular season. That was a team that could never win a Stanley Cup the way they were constructed. So what they did is they took a step back, and then they ran into a major cap issue as well, and they lost a lot of talent. And I'm not talking about just Huberdeau because you got Tkachuk in return, who's better than him.
Yes,
and who's been better. But they also lost like the free agent rentals like Claude Giroux, Ben Sherrod, defenseman, Mason Marchman left, Noah Lachari left, and then on top of that, in November, December,
Duclair. You haven't had.
Duclair's been out the whole year. And in November, December, there wasn't a night when there were 2 or 3 guys missing because of non-COVID illness. So they were shorthanded for most of the year. At their best, this year they're going to be a borderline playoff team all along to me. But if they're going to make the playoffs, I would like their chances better than they were last year when they had the best record in the league.
But do you see a playoff team right now? The goaltending hasn't been good either. And
that's a major problem. No, and that's a major problem, especially for the amount of money you're playing Bobrovsky, which was a bad decision from day one. I've said that all along. You don't pay a goalie that kind of money in the NHL because there are so few who are like really, really outstanding every single year. Those guys are rare.
Right. So are you firing Paul Maurice or what are you doing to correct this? Because it doesn't look like they're going to make the playoffs.
I don't blame Paul Maurice. They didn't have a great roster this year compared to last year. Number one, number two. Again, let him play 20 games in a row with like a semi-full roster before we judge him. You know.
Okay. All right. Because man.
No, it's been annoying and frustrating, but
for years, for decades. It's like, and I thought they were turning the corner after last year. Like, okay, let's make them a little bit more defensive. I get it and all that, but wow.
No, and they went for it. They went for it last year, and they got themselves like right up against the cap. I mean, they were like this against the cap.
I know.
To the point where before they put Hornquist on long-term IR, if they had a guy miss, like when Ekblad went out, they basically operated sometimes at less than the maximum number of players because they weren't allowed to bring up anybody because of cap issues. So
it's another guy that, he's a terrific player, but brother, he is as unreliable as it gets. Ekblad gets injured every year, dude. Every year. Unfortunately. And I get it, bro. The human body's not made for hockey like it isn't made for football. But, you can't count on the guy. God, it's been really, really frustrating. All right, let's get to a little football. I know you're not a doctor, and neither am I, and all that. Do you agree with the decision to would you agree if they would have played him, or would you have been a little fishy about playing him like I am, or are you're satisfied with whatever decision was made?
I'm perfectly fine. Whatever decision was made, I would have been very nervous to watch him on the field Sunday. To be honest with you, I'd have been like every time there'd be defenders around them, I'd be like, a little part of me would be like, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, because I'm with you. I was terrified of him getting, because I'm afraid that, the thing that I've explained to people is, and I know I'm not a doctor, but it just seems like they're happening a lot easier. And that last one happened a lot easier than all the other ones, bro. And that, to me, I just think that that's when you start getting into dangerous territory, when you start suffering multiple concussions consecutively without giving your head and your brain some rest. So I'm good. I'm good with that. So now, obviously, you're getting it on your DMs and emails and everything else that they can reach you at, and Twitter. Cut to get rid of them, trade them away, go get Tom Brady, go get Aaron Rodgers, go get Derek Carr. I'm sure you're getting all those things. What should the plan for the Dolphins be in the offseason for Tua Tagovailoa?
shouldn't we wait until the offseason before we talk about this?
Come on. Tua's not playing, so we can talk about it.
I haven't written about it because I'm waiting for the offseason. But since you asked, well, here's the thing is, and I get those who are like, okay, you're here, you are in a playoff game, you don't have Tua because of
durability
issues, which are not going away. They're not going away in 23, in 2024. They're never going away. Nope. So I get those who I understand those who say you can't put yourself in that same position again. I get it. So the idea of moving on from Tua, I fully understand it, and I would be on board with it. But you have to have a plan B or a plan A in this case. It's not as simple as getting rid of Tua or moving on from Tua because you can't rely on him. It's also you got to have somebody.
Yeah, and you are getting rid of the number one passer in the NFL, something that the Dolphins never, ever, 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 ever have.
That's a different discussion.
So
that's you're getting rid of him after him having a very good year and proving that he could get the job done.
That's what I'm saying. He's playing better than any quarterback since Marino. I mean, that's kind of hard to just say, yeah, let's just get rid of this guy because we can go produce guys that are better than him or equal, which,
No, but by the same token, you can understand the argument of
yes.
Again, I mean, is he going to be leading the league in passer rating again next year, and then in week 12, and then something happens, and we're in the same boat? I could live with the idea of, and one thing that really hurt this year also is you signed a backup who hasn't been durable.
Right.
I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, Bridgewater can't stay in a game.
I know.
That's a problem. So that's why if they're going to stick with Tua, which I don't, again, I'd have to think about it, dive in. My initial thought is I think I'm okay with sticking with Tua in 2023 because I don't necessarily see a major clear upgrade and durable that's out there. And I'm not sure I like the Tom Brady idea because you get Tom Brady, we're really going to have Tua sit as a backup in 2023, and then
no, they'll get rid of him if they get Tom Brady because
correct. Because then you start 2024 and it's the same deal, and Tom Brady's lasting 1 year.
And with the Dolphins' luck, this is the year he gets old.
Yeah, correct. That would be very Dolphins. Yeah,
it would be so Dolphins that you get Tom Brady, and finally, Father Time goes, "Hey, Tom, I'm here for you, buddy. How you doing? Well, wait a minute. I just started this. Yeah, but you're wearing a Dolphins uniform, so we're used to screwing the Dolphins. Come on over with us, old guy." And then that's it. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh man, Tom Brady looks old," and it would be the Dolphins' luck that they would get Tom Brady when he's old. Officially.
At the absolute very least, that they need to get somebody very, very durable as a backup. This is why I threw out Joe Flacco last week. I still think he can throw it around a little bit, and
Flacco, and he lives in Miami because his kids love Tyreek Hill. Okay. You saw his kid was wearing a Tyreek Hill jersey, right?
I did.
And by the way, the other guy I think is Andy Dalton. As a backup? I don't like.
Yes, as a
I've never
backup.
been an Andy Dalton guy in my life ever, even as a starter. But he actually played well this year, and as a backup, I think that's his role. Actually. Yes, his role, and he's pretty durable, by the way.
I could live with it. I'd like Flacco better, and
that's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine.
again, the problem is if we're looking big picture, the Dolphins are stuck in a conference with a ton of young stud quarterbacks that they're going to have to deal with, and that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Would you draft another quarterback? What have you seen from Skyler that convinces you he can be your backup quarterback next year? And if he can't be your backup quarterback next year because you got to go out and get Flacco or Dalton, is it worth keeping him on the roster for one more season? Have you seen enough, or are there too many holes in his game for you to continue? How do you look at it?
I think it's especially, and I'm going to go there. I am going to go there. Since I've been hearing, living in Miami all this time, of like, why are you giving up on Tua so quickly? Give Tua a chance. We're really going to decide right now, after Skylar Thompson's played in 4 or 5 brief appearances, never having Teron Armstead in the lineup. We're going to decide already that he's not good enough. Sorry, not doing that.
Okay.
I've seen some things from him. There are absolutely things to work with. Okay, and I know I had somebody on Twitter like throw at me like, well, he missed a wide open Tyreek Hill by 5 yards.
Yeah, his accuracy is not good. He doesn't have great accuracy. I question his accuracy, and I question how reading defenses. He's a little slow at that.
He's not. Yeah, he's not as quick as Tua, certainly, and he's not even as quick as Teddy Bridgewater. He's a rook. Give him time. Okay, I'm not buying that one bit. I don't want to hear anything about a comparison to Brock Purdy when he's got a stud.
No, that's a stupid comparison. That's a completely stupid.
And yet it's not there.
That they don't know football. They don't understand what Brock Purdy's doing and what he has around him compared to what any quarterback in the Dolphins has around them. There's no comparison. It's not even close. It's nice. It's nice to have a defense on the other side that's going to limit the next team you're playing every week to 15 points. I mean, that's, that used to happen here in Miami. They were named Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas and all those guys. Once they got to 20 points, it was hard for the Dolphins to win a game because they didn't have an offense that could score. You covered those teams. You know what I'm talking about.
No, and even on offense, they've got a stud in every position group.
Every.
I mean, that's there's a reason why they were 13-4 despite going to 3 quarterbacks. Yeah. So that's apples and oranges. So no, I do like a lot of things. No, the point I was going to make about there was this angle from behind the offensive huddle on the 4th down pass where Tyreek flashed open for a bit, not a ton, and I got somebody telling me like he's open by 5 yards. Sorry, it wasn't 5 yards. And yeah, had he seen him quickly, the pass was there and it was an easy completion. He didn't see it quickly enough, and then he looked away somewhere else, and then the pressure got to him and he checked it away. Guess what? Maybe in 2024 or 2023 next year, he sees it quicker and that ball's out. Okay, there's a lot to work with Skyler. I like what I've seen, and again, he's not once operated on good circumstances where you look at the offensive line.
He was running for his life last week. Let's give the guys on the left side a little love. They did all right, bro. They weren't that bad. They weren't 2021 and 2020 seasons bad. Okay, let's just put it that way.
It was rough. The pass protection wasn't good, especially you're right on the left, more so on the right side. And the game plan also was very, very conservative because they were playing the Jets. Now this week, Skyler's going to be asked to do a lot more. Hopefully the offensive line gives him some protection where he has some time, and then we'll see. That's collecting more data as far as what we have, but I sure as hell not ready to move on from him.
Okay. Sounds good. How would you describe the attitude that Dolphins fans should have? Because, I get the crazy ones. Well, if we can control the clock and run the ball and get 3 turnovers and turn over Josh Allen, we got a shot at this. And I'm like, you're not winning this game, bro. Relax, chill out. So I'm just wondering, what attitude would you tell Dolphins fans to take for this game?
I would be realistic and understand that it's highly, highly unlikely the Dolphins win this game. It's probably, again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to keep harping on the guy. If Armstead doesn't play, it might not be close. For the Dolphins to have a shot, it's one of those where they have a microscopic margin for error. That basically means if they have any opportunities on defense to get a takeaway, they need to capitalize. That means if there's a loose ball on the ground, they need to get that fumble. If X can get his hand on the ball, he needs to make the pick. On offense, if Skyler takes a shot downfield, Tyree gets behind the defense, he needs to connect. They have no margin for error. They basically have to play a flawless, perfect game, and Buffalo be off their game. And yeah, that's unrealistic. So, but again, that's why they play the game.
I got you. All right. Sounds good. Will they keep it even close inside the 13?
Is Armstead playing?
I doubt it, right?
Yeah,
I doubt he's going to play. He doesn't play Tua game. He doesn't play non-Tua games.
Yeah.
I think that was in his contract. I think he negotiated. He said, Tua's out, I'm out. But what about if you're not injured? Tua's out, I'm out. And they just said,
the dude's been injured. That I'm not questioning that for a second. In fact, you saw the revelation he made yesterday?
I'm having fun.
No, I know, but you saw the revelation he made yesterday, right?
Yeah, I know. He has opted to not have surgery and stay and help the team out. No, listen, I know he's no Byron Jones. I totally understand that. Yeah. But
no, that's the antithesis. I would not recommend in any way, shape, or form for those who partake in little wagering action to take the 13 points. I would not.
Will Mike McDaniel and company have success running the ball, and will they actually stick with it?
If they have success and they don't stick with it, maybe they should be fired on the spot. I mean, that's part of the ticket to winning this game. If they can run the ball, control the clock, keep the Buffalo offense off the field as much as possible. Yeah. Will they have success? They're not rushing for 185 yards like they did in the Saturday night game. I'm not buying that for a second. I could expect them to have some measure of success. I think Buffalo's defense is a lot better against the pass than it is against the run. So, again, I think they'll have let's put moderate success running the ball.
All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated at alldolphins.com so they can check you out?
I did interesting. We're talking about I did a story today on looking at the history of double-digit playoff favorites in the NFL since 2000, and what that means for those teams who go into a game and say you'd be surprised how many teams actually won outright. It's a lot more than I thought. What else have I done today? I did something on Armstead, looking back at his season as well, and then I'm about to write something about Tua and our friend Cater Co, who were getting some NFL recognition honors.
Should, bro. Kid's been a steal, man. What a find, man. Division II, incredible maturity. He just you gotta work on the hands a little bit, but you kind of want guys that are physical of nature as it is. You can tone that down. What you don't want is a cornerback that is soft, and then you got to try to toughen him up. That's right. One thing you don't have to worry about with Cater Kohu. That dude is tough. That is one of the toughest tacklers I have seen, and he's only a rookie. I'm impressed with him, man. I am super impressed with Cater Kohu.
No, I've said all along, best tackling Dolphin cornerback since Vontae Davis.
Yeah, Vontae was very good tackler. That is a great call on your part. Yeah. Grandma approved of that too also.
Yeah, you had to go there, didn't you?
Well, I couldn't help it. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Catch his work there on Sports Illustrated, alldolphins.com. That's it. Bookmark it, alldolphins.com. Once you do that, you're officially a Miami Dolphins fan. Alan, have a great weekend. We will catch up on Monday, my friend.
Sounds good. Have a great weekend.
You got it. There you go. Alan Poupart and our EJDconstruction.com Miami Dolphins report. Listen, those of you in Dade and Broward County, if you're trying to renew your home insurance because, we've got something called hurricanes that hit us every once in a while. Well, guess what those insurance companies are telling you now? Your roof is a little too old. You got to update it. You got to upgrade it. Yeah, you got to bring it up to code. We cannot give you a new policy until you do. And that's when you call EJDconstruction.com. They will upgrade and update that roof, bring it up to the code, and then you will be able to get your policy. Call them, man. I'm telling you, they will take care of you. The great people at EJD Construction, 305-433-4843. Save it on that cell phone, 305-433-4843, and they can do anything. Custom home construction, major home remodeling, We're not talking about a handyman. We're talking about heavy stuff. I don't care if you want to build a whole house, a second floor, an extra room. You need to gut the entire building, the entire business. You can do anything and everything that you need with EJD Construction, folks. Fully insured, liability and workers' comp. That way you will never be in any trouble. So if anybody working in your home, I don't know if you know this, but if somebody working in your home gets injured and they're not fully insured, they can sue you. Yeah. Last thing you want is somebody working in your home and then they get injured and they're now suing you. That's another problem. Always hire companies that are fully insured. EJD Construction is fully insured. 305-433-4843. Call Eric right now and tell him that Big O sent you.